You know that saying, if you want something done, give it to a busy person? I think there's some truth in that. When we look around and we see people in our lives or online that we admire because they just seem to be getting it all done, yet they have so much on their plate, it's kind of confusing. Like, how are they doing all of this? Well, I feel like for me personally, a busy mom of 3 young kids, working multiple jobs outside my home and at home, I feel like I've cracked some of those codes, at least what works for me. So I want to share that with you today. But first, if you're new here, welcome. My podcast is called the Confident Parenting Podcast. My name is Julie. I'm an occupational therapist by background and also a mom coach. I coach women individually and in groups, and it has given me a lot of insight into how we are all dealing with motherhood and life in today's world a little differently. And it's also given me insight into what has worked for me. So I want to share my top tips so far as we launch and jump into 2026 that have absolutely revolutionized how I run my life. The point being that it's not supposed to cost you your peace to be busy and productive and purposeful. You're supposed to still be able to have a bit of downtime, be able to relax. For me, to be able to sleep well at night, because if I've gotten that balance right, I'll be tired enough that I'll actually sleep. If you're around 40 and you know how hard it is to sleep sometimes, especially that 3 in the morning wake up, it's so bad. But if I know that I have moved my body and I have had a good day productive wise and gotten things done, closed a lot of loops in my mind, I'm going to sleep much better. So if nothing else, maybe this video will help you sleep better. Make sure you stay until the end to listen to all of my tips, and give this video a like, thumbs up. You know the drill. Leave a comment down below and let's jump into tip number 1. Okay, quick caveat before we jump into tip number 1. I'm so sorry. This might not be the season for you to be super productive and busy. My kids are a little bit older now. My youngest one is 4 and they're a bit more independent. They go to school and this allows me to maximize my time. But what I realized was that I was absolutely squandering that time when they are not at home and just wasting it on things that I didn't need to be wasting it on. There are always activities that I think about that are child friendly, like you can do it with your child, like cooking, maybe even cleaning, maybe organizing your home a little bit as they get older. I know little toddlers will like to destroy everything that you've neatly tidied up, but it depends on the age of your kid. But there are certain things that you can do while your children are at home. They're playing, they're reading, they're doing their thing, maybe they're helping you. And then certain things that are just difficult to do when other people are around. It doesn't have to be a child. Deep focused work, phone calls, these are hard things to do. Obviously, leaving your home is not something you can do if you need to be responsible for your kids. So I want you to keep that in mind, that for me right now, this is a productive, busy season where there are a lot of things that I want to get done and do in life, and I need to work in order to do those things. So I want you to take what is useful for you from my story and leave the rest. So if you listen to nothing else, I think this is something that has absolutely changed the game for me, and I'm done gatekeeping this secret. In fact, I talked about this in my previous video, so make sure you go and watch that. But I was using my digital calendar all wrong, and I haven't seen anyone speak about this. So my husband and I, very boring, we share a Google Calendar, which has been very useful as life has gotten busier and busier, and each of our 3 children start to have more and more their own lives, doing more things. There's absolutely no way we can keep all of that inside of our heads. My husband travels a lot for work. We've got lots of things going on. As I mentioned at the top of this video, I have work like at home and away from home. I need to know what's going on. But what I was not doing was thinking about how I'm going to use the time when I'm not scheduled for something. So we schedule our joint family events, usually things like if I have work, I'll put that on our joint calendar so he knows. Maybe that would mean he needs to pick up the kids from school or take them to school. If I have a workout class, I'll put that on there. I don't really have multiple calendars, so this is my only calendar. He has a separate work calendar, and even that gets a little tricky sometimes because then he needs to juggle between 2 calendars. Anyway, we're all on our own journeys with this. We'll put kids' activities, so all of their sports and extracurriculars are on that calendar. Obviously, if people are coming to stay with us or we're traveling, holidays, any kind of strange school anomaly, dentist appointments, you get the picture, basic stuff. And then I realized that I can put my own events on my calendar that are not necessarily events. They're just to-do lists. Because what I was struggling with was that I would have separate to-do lists. I explained this in my other video, but I would have a to-do list on my phone phone, or I'd write it down in a notebook, or I'd write it down on a visual calendar. And the thing is, I could just it was never with me all the time. Like, where is my phone? It's with me all the time. And it's also dynamic. When you have a digital calendar, you can change things around. I do love an old pen and pencil situation or paper and pencil situation, but it's just not practical for right now. And this works really, really well. So if I have, say, yoga in the morning, and then I have a 2-hour break, and then I have to go do something else, I will slot in things there that I want to get done that are not events. It could be baking bread. It could be gardening, things that I think I might forget if I don't put on the calendar. It could be changing the linen. It could be anything. It could also be preparing for a call or doing work stuff that I don't necessarily think my husband needs to be cluttered with. He doesn't need to know that I'm going to make bread, or that I'm going to cook dinner, or that I'm going to read a book. He doesn't need that in his life. And so the nice thing about a Google Calendar is that you can select which calendars are visible to others. So we have our family, we call it like family calendar, something like that. It's in green, shared between us. And then I have my own like pink calendar, which are my tasks that I want to get done. So say, for example, I could film a video or something, and it's not going to show up on his calendar, but it shows up on mine and helps me stay accountable. And I think that's the key thing. I have really found it helpful to have all these things listed out. I am much more likely to do them if they're on my calendar and I'm seeing them all the time. And the great thing about a digital calendar is, like yesterday, I didn't get to something that I did today. I just moved it over. I can decide if I want to delete it off the calendar once it's done, like almost like checking it off, it's gone now, or I can leave it there to feel like have a record that I did that, or a sense of accomplishment or something, or I could write done in it. There's so many things that you can do, and you can go into the notes portion of the event and type out things. So I just feel like it's really, really helpful, at least in this season. And the crazy thing is, I don't know if it's just me and I'm motivated by a to-do list, but I just am so much more likely to do that thing that I put on there than ever before. Another thing that I like to do is, if they are tasks, and this is, I guess, another point that I want to add, if there are tasks that are important but not urgent, so they're important for me to do, I deem them important, but they're not urgent, I can put those on the calendar at a time that I think is appropriate. What I was finding when I had all the time in the world, aka I didn't have a structure to my day, I would kind of just do things willy-nilly, because I have the type of personality that if it's like, okay, we need to go and declutter something, especially if it's something I enjoy doing and like to do, then I will just go and do that now. But it's not necessarily the best time to do it. Start a massive declutter, right before the kids are supposed to go to school, or 9 o'clock at night. But if I put it on a calendar, on my digital calendar for the weekend, a day where I could do whatever I want, I give myself that freedom, then it's so much better. So for example, I know that I need to do some gardening and sort out some things. It's not the best use of my time to do that during a work day when my kids are not here. I need to be using that time for focused work, right? The same as I know all of our Christmas cards. I took down all of our Christmas decorations, but I left the Christmas cards because I thought I'll leave them up for a bit longer. There were a few that came kind of later. They haven't been up for long, but eventually it's getting dusty. We need to clean them up. But again, it won't take me that long, but it's not the right time to do it again when my children are not here and I should be working. It's basically distracting me from working or giving me an excuse not to work. And so I put it on my calendar for Saturday. And if we come to the end of the day and I feel like I have more bandwidth and it's not working time anymore, then that's fine. I'm not going to hold myself to that and be cross with myself. It's just, I was finding I'm doing tasks that are important to me, but not urgent at the wrong time. They're inappropriate time. Whereas a deadline or preparing for a meeting or preparing for a class or something like that, that's much more urgent. But in my brain, that's much harder to do. So I'm much more likely to procrastinate. And as someone who's very used to being kind of told what to do in a working environment, I used to work like your typical 8 to 5, kind of being told where to go and when and how to do it. It's a different skill to be able to manage yourself. And I have really struggled over the years. And so this is something that I feel like is working for me, at least right now. So I wanted to share this. I don't think we should gatekeep this anymore. I think if you want to get anything done, whether you're a parent or not, it's prioritizing blocked time that you've set aside for your work, because it doesn't have anything to do with kids. It's just more about the time that you've set aside to work that you can. And then you'll get so much done. And it'll feel so good to get your work out of the way. And then you can give yourself that freedom to go and pick up the Christmas cards if you want to. On the calendar theme, the next thing that I do is also schedule actual personal time. This is not something I ever thought to do. But again, our lives are very full, they're very busy. And if I don't add a little bit of structure, things get lost. So I have goals with regards to my kids, like we're reading certain books that I want to read with them, or finish certain workbooks, or do a little project. And sometimes, Saturday morning we'll roll around and it'll be like, what are we going to do today? And we kind of just, I don't know, we don't really have any plan. And that's fine. Like that time is okay too. It's nice to be able to relax and just wake up and be like, what should I do today? But if there's specific leisure things that you might want to get done, again, no one's holding a gun to your head. You don't have to do what's on the calendar, but I like that I just put it there. It's out of my mind. Like, we should have finished that book, or, we have a library book we need to finish. Or if it's on the calendar, no harm. It takes me less than 2 seconds to put it on there. Then I know that it's there too. And so I'm using this to structure social things as well. Maybe it's like go to a specific park, or go to a specific exhibit, or go and try a certain restaurant, because you want to do these things. And then when the time comes that you could do them, you forget about them. I know I'm not the only one, because this happens all the time. So I also do this with personal things, and I think it's really helpful. As I said, last year I felt like I was squandering my time a lot because I didn't really have a good direction of where I was going. And so I've started to say yes to a lot more things, which is scary for me. I have a lot of PTSD from like being that overcommitting person, or feeling like I've just taken on way too much, and then feeling so frazzled that people pleaser in me wanting to say yes to things. It's a delicate balance, okay? We're going for Goldilocks, not too much, not too little. You want to challenge yourself. Like human beings need a little bit of challenge to feel purposeful, to feel meaning in life and value. So it's this delicate dance that you have to do. So I've started to say yes to opportunities that come my way. Not every opportunity. I really try and think about it. But this ensures that I don't really have the luxury of wasting time. I am still going to schedule in and allow myself to have rest breaks and relaxation. And that is really what this method is also about. When you're actually focused and you do the work, you do have a lot more time to do things. Remember the person I said that you might know in your life who has a lot going on but seems to get a lot done, or is very accomplished in life in a healthy way? You have to look and see like, what are they doing that we might not be doing? And I have one person specifically in mind. When I think about someone who was, as far as productivity was concerned, didn't dwell and like overthink. She just did. She just got a lot of stuff done. Her house was really well put together. She had two small children that she was dealing with. She had a pretty like high-powered job, and she didn't have a lot of help from family. She managed to get it together. Like not everything in life is going to be perfect, but I just looked at some of the things that she was doing, and I think she had a good balance of saying yes to things and then not overthinking. When you overthink and you just don't do, you waste so much time. We waste so much time. If we cut out our social media, scrolling, all that kind of stuff, we would have so much more productive time. We just don't think we have enough time. So it's all about being smart and like hacking your brain a little bit and doing it properly. This leads very well into my next point, which is an idle mind was kind of wreaking havoc on my mental health. Again, when you have too much of something, like too much time, it's not a good thing necessarily, because now that my children are at school, there's this element of, there's this like feeling of like almost like an empty nester, which is not the case at all. I have tiny children. We've still got time, but I'm someone who's like used to being busy all the time. I'm overthinking things, and I'm probably spending way more time on things and interpreting things in not a great way. And so I think having that right amount of productivity and keeping your mind busy but not overstimulated is the sweet spot. Okay, my next one is to eat the frog, aka make dinner at breakfast time. Now, if you know anything about me, which you might not if you're new here, but I hate making dinner, especially at dinner time. Kids are cranky, I'm tired, they're hungry, they just want snacks, they're whining, they can't wait for dinner. Maybe I don't know what I'm making for dinner, that's the worst. What if now I need an ingredient and it's like 6 p.m. Can't just go run out and go get it. That's going to be a whole palaver. It's the worst. So the other day I actually made dinner at breakfast time. I think it was at like 7:30 or 8. My husband took the kids to school and I was like, 15 minutes, I'm going to make dinner. I had something in mind that I had researched the night before, and we had the ingredients mostly, and I kind of just added what I didn't have, and I made dinner at 8 a.m. Dinner was done. Amazing. Like, will my children eat it? That's a different story. But the point was that I ate the frog. I did the thing that I don't like doing, which is dinner. And then if nothing else, I'm pretty accomplished for the rest of the day because now I have 7 p.m. sorted out. And during the week, we have jam-packed activities after school. Our kids are all doing different things, coming home at different times. It's super helpful to have have an idea of what's for dinner. I mean, that is the basics, just knowing what's for dinner, but actually having it prepared, you are like winning at life. But I guess this could apply to anything that you might be doing in life that you find hard. Eat that frog. Make that hard phone call. Get out that hard work that you're dreading. Send those emails that you don't want to respond to. Eat the frog, and then you'll have a lot more mental peace and clarity, and you can get on with your day and actually like enjoy your life. Okay, so my next tip is to prioritize movement with less excuses. I made a promise to myself at the beginning of the year that I was going to walk every single day in January. It is today, the 13th of January. So I'll be honest, like we haven't got through the whole of January yet. I've walked every single day except one day when I had to go and do an orientation for a job. And I was out the house for 11 or 12 hours and I didn't know how to fit that walk in. It was like a new circumstance and okay. But there's just two things to this. I feel like movement and walking and exercising, however you like to do it, super important for your body and just like keeping you healthy and well. So much of our life is spent sitting down at a computer, and you might not have a super active job where you are getting a lot of steps in. I used to have a super active job because we had a massive building, and so we'd have to walk up and down a lot. And I wish I'd had an Apple Watch at that time because I would have loved to see how many steps I recorded. Plus, I lived in New York City, so inherently I was walking a ton. But for those of us out in the burbs now, you kind of have to make an active effort. Otherwise, I could go like the whole day if I don't go out and walk and just walk like 1,000 steps or something crazy. So the goal is to walk a little bit every day, even if it's like less than a mile. I've done that a few nights where I've had a busy day and I haven't gotten out. And then I'm like, I need to just go for a walk because I promised myself I would. The point is that when you make these tiny promises to yourself and you keep them, you keep that commitment, what else can you keep? I've spent my whole life breaking promises to myself, trying to keep promises for other people, but not for me. And if we're going with the put on your oxygen first analogy, if I can keep a promise to myself, I'm probably going to be better at keeping commitments to other people and being true to them. And if it's something small, like just go for a little walk every day, that builds up confidence in me. Like, what else can I do? Like another thing that I've been doing is posting a reel on Instagram every day, which is also something I would like to think I do, but I have never been very consistent with it. Again, January 13th, I haven't done the whole month yet. I'll let you know how that goes. You can go follow me on Instagram and see how that's going if you want. But I have just been not overthinking it, creating little tips and tricks. It's kind of like getting a tip every day for your life from me, if that's helpful to you, and posting it and not overthinking it. Not going back and seeing how many views it gets or how far it goes or anything like that. The point of it is that I made a commitment to myself and I'm carrying it through, not really what happens when I put it out in the world. And the same with walking. I'm just getting outside. I'm just walking up and down my street. Sometimes, as I said, I'm going for 15 minutes, 10 minutes. It's not about the step count. It's about the fact that I made that promise. If you're familiar with Atomic Habits, the habit stacking book or the habit creation book by James Clear, he talks about the don't miss twice rule. I think that's right. And basically, it's okay to miss once because you can get back on track pretty easily if you just miss once. So I missed that one walk and then I went back the next day. It's when you start missing twice and more, then it becomes really hard to get started again. So again, it's not about perfection. You don't have to get 100%. But if I walk 90% of January, that's a heck of a lot more than I would have walked if I hadn't made this commitment, I think. So I feel like it's really, really helpful. And I think everyone can benefit from it. I'm sure there are a lot of habits that you have that you might want to stop doing. So scrolling comes to mind, wasting time on social media. I spoke about this earlier. What do productive, efficient people do? They probably don't waste hours of their lives watching TV. Like a show here and there, I'm sure that's fine as a way to relax and wind down. But if you have goals and if you're busy, you've got stuff to do, you don't have time to binge watch series every single night or every single weekend. Here's the thing though. I have always found that it's really hard to stop those kind of habits when you have nothing else. When I've filled up my life with healthier things and got into focused on building a walking habit, focused on building a reading habit, focused on working more in a good way or contributing to my community or something, I don't have time to go and scroll for hours and hours. Yes, I can check Instagram for 5 minutes or something, or I can watch a show with my husband at night. That's a nice way for us to relax together, but it doesn't take over my life. It's not so out of balance that it's controlling me. It's just a little treat here and there. And I think that's how it should be versus us feeling completely overwhelmed by what everybody else is doing and the news and then just mindless television that's not supporting us at all, making us feel bad. So that's a really good way to curb a bad habit, is to replace it with something else. And eventually that something else will take over and the bad habit will kind of fall to the wayside. Okay, it wouldn't be a tips video from Julie if I didn't speak about my favorite subject, which is decluttering and organizing. If you think about it, you cannot run an efficient life when your base, aka your home, is a mess. At least that's how I feel. When your house is disorganized, cluttered, you can't find things, you get frustrated, you buy multiples of the same things, so you waste money. Other members of your household can't help you because they don't know where things are. If you have children, you absolutely know this. I don't know what it is about male children specifically, but if something is not exactly where it's supposed to be, they can't find it. So I am really trying hard to keep our home decluttered in a way and organized that makes sense for everybody, especially with little children, because I don't want to waste time stressing about finding stuff. I want to know where things are in my house. I want to be able to have a capsule type of wardrobe or an easy wardrobe that I know that when I have to go to work, this is what I'm going to wear. These are the shoes I'm going to take. I don't want to waste time making those decisions. I don't have time for that, right? Because I've created this busy life. So it's really important that you clean up your side of the street. You look at your home and your systems and what is working, what is not. If you want to learn more about decluttering, I've done so many videos over the years about it. I'll link a playlist down below and you can have a look at my method of decluttering that I think, works well for me. So maybe it'll work for you too. But it is honestly something I talk to my clients about a lot, is decluttering and organizing. That's kind of often how we start with things. And then we realize it goes so much deeper than that. But on a 3D physical level, having your home in order when you want to lead a busy yet successful yet stress-free kind of life, you need to be able to see the floor that you walk on. You need your home to be able to be easily cleaned. You just need people in your house to find what they need so that they can be more independent. And you want to teach your children how to run a home so when they have their own homes, it's not a total disaster. I've definitely seen a lot of people that have grown up in homes that were very cluttered. Their parents didn't know how to organize or declutter their things, and they can't do it as adults. It's crazy. It's a skill that we learn, but we take it for granted if you grew up in a home that was clean and tidy. That's just your expectation of reality. But if that was not your experience, you will struggle as an adult. So for those of you who do have children, it's really, really important that you make this a value or consider this to be a value of yours in your own special way. You do not need to have white walls and no furniture in your home. It's whatever works for you. But if it starts to feel overwhelming, that could be a sign that you need to reassess your systems and reset your home. We've got 2 more tips to go, but efficient people know how to fail and they get up fast. What this means is that when things don't go well, for whatever reason, it could be you missed a walk and it could be you didn't get a opportunity at work. So, something bad happened. You got sick. You missed days in the gym. I don't know. You had some family emergency. Once that kind of passes, you get up and you keep going. When someone in life is kind of successful at it and doing well, they are not dwelling on all the things that have gone wrong. They are forgiving themselves and moving on. And this is something that I've really struggled with over time. And it's often because I have too much time on my hands to think about these things. My brain is not occupied. And so then I go down rabbit holes and it's not good. So I think that is a trick and a tip from very efficient people, that they fail fast, get up, move on with their lives. And the last thing is that this season of life, if you're in the similar one to me, we're going to do it purposefully. We're going to do it with intention. It's a busy time of life with small children, managing them, managing careers. Often people nowadays, at least, are having children and are kind of peaking in their career at the same time. And it's really tough to dedicate all this time to work and then want to be present parents. And so where possible, understanding that this is a season of busyness, of productivity, of organization, how can you set yourself up for success? How can you organize your life so that you can prepare for relaxation, for resting, for rejuvenation in a balance with also being productive and doing? We've really demonized the doing element of life, but the reality is we all need to do something. Like we all need to earn a living in some way or make money in some capacity. And as human beings, we need to be creative. We need to be challenged. Otherwise, we don't feel good. So, I always think of us as human beings, like creation. We create. That's what we do differently, maybe from other animals. Not maybe. It's what we do differently from other animals. And it's in the fabric of our DNA to be doing stuff. So how can we not overdo? How can we keep things in balance? How can we be happy doing it and feel like we're living our purpose? Or if we're not living our purpose, work towards that. Whenever I feel overwhelmed, I have to think all I want to do is curl up and die, right? Curl up on the couch and like never wake up. But really taking action helps me feel so much better. It just makes you feel more in control. And so that's something that I hope you will consider next time you kind of feel paralyzed by all the things that are going on and overwhelmed. There are things and steps you can do to get out of that. So I hope you found this video helpful. Let me know which tip was your favorite one, or was there anything that resonated with you, anything you want to do differently this year moving forward. And check out the playlists and other videos that I've linked down below that might be helpful related to this video. And I will see you in my next one. Bye.